Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the More of a Six podcast. A thrilling Champions League Game Week 5 has been and gone, with a whopping 64 goals across 18 games, with the goal scorers ranging from the age of 17 to 38. I'm joined by my two friends, Noah and Ruben. Ruben, how are you?
I'm good, mate. After that Chelsea win, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident for the weekend.
And you, Noah?
We're going to base it off our fucking matches. Not great, to be honest.
Well, I guess there's a good place to start then is on Tuesday night with Chelsea v Barcelona at Stamford Bridge, where still Cole Palmerless Chelsea face up against one of last season's most entertaining and talented sides in Barcelona. Chelsea had Barca under pressure from early on. A forced own goal from Koundé on 27 minutes gave the Blues the lead. Barca's night got even worse on 44 minutes when Araujo foolishly dived in to get a second yellow. I'm not entirely sure what he was doing there. Just before half-time, to make the task for Barca an even bigger one. A gorgeous solo goal from Esteval, who is just brilliant, by the way, and 3 disallowed offside goals, as well as a Liam Delap goal granted after VAR, as it was originally disallowed, and the 3 points were all Chelsea's. Cucurella was given man of the match for his brilliant display against his national teammate Yamal. Ruben, you were at the game. You are, of course, a Chelsea fan. How good were Chelsea? Whereabouts in the pitch did they win the game? And could they be on for a Champions League push this season?
Well, I don't know. It might be too early to say, but Chelsea have performed incredibly well against the big teams. So just not out of the picture. I think at the game, the atmosphere was amazing. Chelsea and Stamford Bridge have struggled with that in recent dates. But I think here at this game, it was absolutely incredible and exactly what we needed. Our biggest win against Barcelona ever. And the head-to-head is now exactly tied. 6 wins, 6 draws, 6 losses. But quickly, the only downside I had for the game was Garnacho's performance. I thought he played not terribly, but just like an idiot. Like his football IQ seems so low. He would get the ball up against Koundé, and you're fast, mate. Just go on the left, go past him, cross the ball, and see what happens. Instead, he kept cutting in, and then wondering why there was suddenly 4 midfielders near him, and then just playing it back to Cucurella. And also half and half scarves. There were so many of them. There were so many being sold at. I'm just not a fan. Not a fan. But Chelsea won the game in the defence. That's where they won it, all across the pitch, not just the centre-backs. It was mainly from Cucurella and Fofana. Hold on, my door's going. I need to go for the door.
I'll fill in on Garnacho. Sometimes that bloke just confuses me. I don't know about you, Noah, but like he'll have such great games and he'll look so dangerous in games, and then he just has games where he just makes the most ridiculously stupid decisions.
I think he's one of those just like naturally talented, but just has no fucking idea what he's supposed to do on the
pitch. No, definitely. No, he does give off those vibes. That's what Ruben was saying about the defence. Yeah, Chelsea are just quite solid at the back. You know, they've had their issues in the past with their defence. Especially in recent years, you get look at the likes of Disasi, Badiashile, maybe not necessarily players you can rely on consistently at the back. But no, Fofana's had a good year. Cucurella just seems to get better every week. Like ever since that Euros win with Spain, he's just been on an absolute flyer. Probably the best left back in the world, maybe. Him or Nuno Mendes. Probably Nuno Mendes, but he's up there. Do you want to continue, Ruben?
Where my parents ordered a fucking crate of wine, so I had to pick that up. But after you've done talking about how shit Garnacho has been, the defence was the opposite. It was so good. Mainly Cucurella and Fofana. Not only did we end Barcelona's 24-game scoring streak in the Champions League, but for the first time in Hansi Flick's managerial career, his team failed to score in the Champions League. I think the most important feature of the game was our physicality and ball recoveries. Every loose ball, every 1v1, every draw, we just lost it. We just won it. Simply because we just wanted it more. Chelsea, 48 ball recoveries. Barcelona 37, just more physical, just wanted it more. And I think this is down to our hybrid change in zonal and man-marking pressing. We would change between our centre-backs man-marking their attackers, following them up the pitch. Similar to PSG, but tweaked to match their attackers. For example, Dembele would go all the way to the halfway line to pick up the ball. Lewandowski's not that player. But we'd man-mark them around when they had the ball in the attack. And when we had the ball more in their half, higher up, we would go for a more zonal press, pressing them, making them lose the ball, mainly through Gusto. I think Cucurella, man of the match, deserved. 9 defensive actions, 5 tackles, limited Yamal to lose possession 21 times. He also only completed around 2 dribbles, and stats won't show this, but at the game, we started diving again and again and again, but not so much going against the man, getting a foul and falling over. More just walking to Cucurella, throwing his arms up, begging the referee to do something, begging him to end the game early. And also Fofana, full ball recoveries and not draw past the entire game. Since his return from injury, Chelsea have not lost a game he started. I think Chelsea, they've had their defensive issues, and I think that's where we've lost a lot of games, especially since without Colwell, we've been playing Chalobah and Tosin. Tosin, great last season, not great this season. Chalobah, he's a good defender. Is he a good footballer? I don't know. He's not the great passer. He's not great under pressure. He'd be great for a mid-table team, but I don't think he starts for a team wanting to win the Premier League and Champions League, even if he was playing well in this game. However, if Fofana can stay fit, I think we can really push for these trophies and these titles. Obviously, I've got to talk about Estevo and also highlight the matchday program. I want to ask you quickly, ask Noah first, as obviously we've all been to games, we've all got a program. How many pages do you think in a program were dedicated as the young Brazilian?
With he's on the front cover, so I assume it's some sort of little anniversary of him signing or something like that.
Well, it's Enzo first of all, mate.
Right, well, I couldn't see it properly. 7 pages? I don't know. He's the young star, isn't he?
Okay, well, I'll remind you that, what was it, the captain, Reece James, has 1 page. So it's normally, I wasn't expecting you to say 7, but he has, kind
of defeats the point you're trying to make. But
I don't know.
3?
See, Charlie's actually gone to a few games. He's got a few programs. He knows that normally it's only around 1 page per player. Very short, lots of ads in it. Instead, you have a beautiful double header for him for 2 pages, another page full of text about him, and then one more bringing to fore with a picture of the goal he scored against us, which is scarily similar to the wonder goal we scored against Barcelona. Insane goal, dribbled past Kubasi like he wasn't there and slotted it top bins. 6 goals assists for Chelsea this season, more than Vert, Isak, Bruno Fernandes and Rafinha. And he's now the 3rd teenager to score in his first 3 Champions League games. That might just seem like a nothing stat, until you realise that the other 2 players to do the same are Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland. This is a player that makes Stamford Bridge excited. When you're at a game, people get up and they applaud when a goal, when a chance, when something happens. People are getting up and are applauding when this man gets the ball. Even before he's moved, as soon as he touches the ball, they're applauding because they know something's going to happen. I've written down here, it's almost Hazard-esque. Like every time he gets the ball, people are excited to see him. Enzo Fernandez, the man that was actually on the cover, he had a masterclass. People were talking about he might be the Toni Kroos, next Toni Kroos. Maybe I saw glimpses of that. 1 assist, 53 accurate passes, 5 touches in the opposition box, but also 4 ball recoveries. For me, he was the unsung hero of this game. Masterclass performance, as well as Reece James, Malo Gusto, Pedro Neto. And lastly, on the red card, I think it's important to quickly speak about this. A lot of Barcelona fans obviously crying about the defeat, saying it didn't matter. A lot of media and pundits saying, it's not a big deal, the red card, because Chelsea were already winning so far into the first half. But I think it is significant, since what scared me about Barcelona was their high press and their tiki-taka play in the first 15 minutes. Barcelona would press high up with 4 players. Their attacking 3 of Lewandowski, Ferran Torres, and Lamine Yamal. However, also with Furman coming from the midfield. They would press all of our defenders. And as I was saying earlier with our defensive issues, when you got Chalobah on the ball, trying to play out of the back, mistakes are bound to happen. And that is what happened. He played it to Caicedo in a position he shouldn't be receiving the ball in. Caicedo lost it and he let it that Ferran Torres chance, which, if we're all being honest, he really should have put away. Also with the tiki-taka, Barcelona did really well to keep their midfield compact and short, especially held together by Frank de Jong, one of my favourite players of all time. They were able to play past our press really easily and create some chances which, albeit didn't come to too much since our defence was so good, they were able to get in those positions. However, after fuck knows what Araujo was doing, complete head loss, after his insane decision, Hansi Flick decided to move Eric Garcia back to the defence, leaving their midfield stranded. This meant they couldn't press, this meant they couldn't play tiki-taka, and all the positives were lost from Barcelona, leading to an easy victory for Chelsea.
I think you're right. I think it was way too easy for Chelsea. And also, what you said about Estevan getting you on your feet and off your seat. It really reminds me of the way you described that. Reminds me of Zaha when he was at Palace, just playing that whenever he gets the ball. I know you laugh now, but like whenever he gets the ball, like literally him just getting the ball in the opposition's half, everyone would get everyone on their feet. You know what I mean? Everyone would get a bit excited. Like you need players like that. That's why you go to football. It's why you want to watch. It's why it's entertaining, isn't it? Players like him, Hazard, like you compared it to Hazard. It might be one of the first players since Hazard you'd had that can maybe do that. So it is definitely very important. But yeah, no, Chelsea were extremely convincing. I think they just look look really good. The press was great. Obviously, the red card played a big factor, but I think you would have been all right either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you would have been all right. Moving on, we're going to do a little brief summary of some of the other games on Tuesday night. Newcastle suffered their second defeat of the league phase away to Marseille, despite going ahead early on thanks to the in-form Harvey Barnes, before Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang rolled back the years as a 36-year-old, but I didn't realise he was that old, and took advantage of a peculiar Nick Pope mistake. I'm not entirely sure what Pope was doing. Newcastle fans aren't exactly happy about that online. To put away his first goal before meeting a low cross at the near post for his second, giving Marseille their second home win of the league phase. Manchester City welcomed Kasper Hjulmann's informed Leverkusen side to town, who had turned their form around following their horrible start to the season under Erik ten Hag by winning their last 3 in all comps heading into the game. A goal from Geraldo on 23 minutes and a header from Patrick Schick 10 minutes into the second half sunk the Citizens, and their rotated side couldn't be saved by Erling Haaland's introduction on 65. Leverkusen maintained their unbeaten status away from home in this season's league phase thus far. That's 3 games, 2 wins, 1 draw. Mourinho, his Benfica beat Ajax 2-0, leaving the Dutch side bottom of the table and the only team yet to pick up a point this season in the Champions League. They've been absolutely awful. Bodo Glimt put up a strong fight at home to Juve, as they kind of always do. They're quite a good side at home, but was sunk by a 91st-minute winner from substitute Jonathan David, with that game ending 3. Dortmund entered the top 8 following a 4-0 win at home to Villarreal as the Yellow Submarine went down to 10 men after ex-Spurs defender and captain Juan Foyth handled the ball off the line. I'm not really sure what he thought would happen. I don't really get why players do that, because you're going to give away a penalty, which is an almost guaranteed goal, and you're going to get a red card. So why would you not just let the goal go in? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Dortmund then scored 3 more. They were already 1-0 up at that point, and they scored 4 goals at home in the second Champions League game in a row. Slavia Prague had a dull home draw to Bilbao. We're not going to speak about that one. No one cares. Conte's Napoli beat Karabag at home with an overhead kick from Scott McTominay that wasn't quite as nice as his one in the international break. I don't know if you boys have seen it. It like deflected off of the defender's foot and rolled in. But it wasn't a very good goal. But finally, Galatasaray suffered home defeat for the first time in all competitions this season, as promising striker Promise David bagged just after Gala went down to 10 men. Specifically on the Newcastle-Man City game, Noah, have you got anything to say about either of those games? Anything to say on Newcastle and Europe, City?
Don't really know what to think of City, to be honest. Like sometimes they just look like the best team in the league. They look like they're going to fight Arsenal for that title and in the Champions League. And another week, I feel like if you crack them, they just don't know what to do. I feel like that's always been a bit of an issue with Pep Guardiola. Not to say he's one-dimensional, because he obviously is probably the greatest manager in the Prem we've ever seen. But I don't know. City are a bit unpredictable.
It is one of those games where I looked at it before and like you don't like think City are going to lose. You never think City are going to lose, really. I feel like they've got to a point now where like they kind of go into every game expecting to win. It was definitely one of those where you looked at it and you could see it could be a banana skin. Do you know what I mean? Like Leverkusen, great away from home in the Champions League this season, on a bit of a flyer under their new manager. And yeah, City, they have that in them, don't they? And I think that's why they're maybe not ready to be challenging for the Prem, I think, this season. I think they're maybe up there, but I think it's probably just Arsenal's now, isn't it? Ruben, do you have anything to say about Newcastle? Obviously, they won on Saturday against the City. Obviously, a great win at home. But then to go away to Marseille, probably would want more from that than a 2-1 loss.
Yeah, I didn't see really anything from the Newcastle game. Harvey Barnes, keep on scoring. That's all I've seen, really. And also Nick Pope. The first goal, no idea what he's doing. Second goal, can he do better? Maybe, but maybe not the greatest performance for him. So not really much to say there. The Man City game, however, ironically, it's another Flecken masterclass. 9 saves, 2.19 expected goals prevented. He just loves a game against City. But I think when Noah was talking about the issue with City, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I think it's because it really depends on Erling Haaland. You know, as a player, sometimes you're good, sometimes they're not. They're incredibly reliant on Erling Haaland this season. He has 14 goals this season. The second highest Man City top goal scorer is 8 players, all combined on 1 goal. That is fucking insane. 1 goal being your second highest goal scorer is crazy.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Like, obviously, you look at the games and you look at the scores and you see he's like always scoring. Like, he's literally always scoring. And you just think they obviously, like, you subconsciously you think, oh, they rely on Haaland a lot. But I didn't know it was. So there's not a single other City player that scored more than 1.
No.
That is crazy, isn't it? They really do rely on him a ridiculous amount. I never knew it was that. I never knew it was that much. We're going to move on to another game. We're going to move on to Wednesday's games. Sorry, packed full of action, goals, and surprises. One particular surprise comes to mind, and that's probably where we should start. Liverpool hosted Dutch side PSV Eindhoven, managed by Peter Bosz, who Arne Slot had won just once against in 5 previous meetings. So he had a bit of a bad record before. The Dutch side took the lead early on as a result of a Perisic penalty, following Virgil van Dijk doing what can only be explained as his best impression of Michael Jordan. I don't really know what he was trying. I don't think there was nearly enough contact in terms of foul to constitute him putting his arm up. Not sure what was going on there. But the Reds equalised not long after, following nice work from Gakpo down the left against his former side, whose shot deflected into the path of Szoboszlai, who tapped into an empty net. The game remained 1-1 until 10 minutes into the second half, when an unbelievable through ball, by the way, from Brazilian fullback Mauro Jr. was met by forward Gus Til, who dispatched well. Going behind meant Liverpool had to kind of push the issue, and 2 goals in the last 20 minutes on the break from substitute Kuhab Driouche meant that the game ended 4-1 to the away side. Yep, 4-1 to PSV at Anfield. What happened to the Fortress of Anfield? The loss marked Liverpool's 9th in their last 12 and their 3rd in a row in all comps. Noah, what went wrong? And afterwards, is it time to go?
We just don't know, do we? We just don't know. I mean, first and foremost, I'm probably going to be focusing more on Liverpool. PSV were unbelievable. I have to give them their credit. I mean, all 4 of their, well, a penalty, I guess, but all 3 of their goals were very well worked. Where to begin? I mean, I was saying to Ruben before the game, I was just praying for big changes from Forest, and we just did not get that at all. It was the same formation that's just not been working. No right back, obviously that's not really Slot's problem, to be honest, but it's more the injuries that we're sort of picking up. But I don't know, it seemed to be lost all over the pitch. Wirtz maybe missing the creativity from that. I mean, we were getting our shots away, just not really putting anything dangerous into the box at all. It's a lot of crosses, and Kirkes was somewhat good at that, but not on other things, I guess. I thought Gakpo wasn't great either. But yeah, I don't know. I think Dominic Szoboszlai is 8.8 on SofaScore compared to the rest of like the team just being on 6s. Just showed how much better he is for the team. He's the only one that can keep his head high after that. I mean, it was just, yeah. And then after the game with Curtis Jones giving the post-match interview saying he doesn't even know where to go with it, and it's just fallen into a bit of a shit sort of run of form that we don't know what to do with.
No, definitely. It's never good, is it, when players come out and they kind of reflect that lack of confidence so publicly. On Dominic Szoboszlai, he really strikes me as a player that is like the successor to that captain's armband after Van Dijk. He seems like a, maybe not necessarily like vocally, but like such a lead by example kind of captain. He's always putting in the most yards. He's always consistent. If Liverpool are bad, Szoboszlai's the best player. If Liverpool are good, he's like one of the best players. You know what I mean? Like he's always up there. I don't know. In terms of the second question, Noah, at what point, I thought I spoke to you earlier and you kind of said you're not Slot out, but at what point do questions start to be asked? Because he's been very stubborn with the system, I think. I think he could have adapted a bit more. Yeah, like for instance, give me a number. How many more losses in your next 5 games? How many losses for him to where it's like, yeah, he has to go?
We've got Sunderland, Leeds, and West Ham. 3 games that, I mean, Sunderland might be a bit tricky, but 3 games that we really should be winning. We're losing all 3 of them. I'd probably hope he's gone by the end of that. But the real problem is, who do you get in if Slot goes? And that's why I've always been a bit Slot in, and mainly because I want to stand by my manager. But who actually is available instead of like free agents? 'Cause I'm looking bookies' favourites about Ange or something ridiculous like that. if we can get like Andoni Iraola in from Bournemouth, if he really wanted to come to Liverpool, I don't know. It's not looking great.
Stay away from Glasner. Stay away. He's ours. You don't want Glasner.
You know my thoughts on him.
I think that all I'm going to say on this is I think the footballing world is completely oblivious to quite how elite of a manager Oliver Glasner is. Because as a Palace fan, I've never seen anything like it in my life. I go into every game thinking we can win, and we always put up a pretty good performance. Can't remember the last time we were rubbish. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. You hit a nerve there. Didn't like that. Ruben, Liverpool, it's all going wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, I've actually got a few questions for Noah, really.
Go on.
Because I wanted to
fire away.
Obviously, me and Noah talk a little bit, and I give him not just a little bit of shit, a lot of shit about Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak. I've got a nice little stat here. Who scored? I've said that out of 455 players that have played at least 1 minute of Premier League football this season, Isak ranks 400 and in general performance. And the crazy part about that is that only one player below him has played more than 90 minutes, and that is Jose Sarr, who plays for Wolves, who's been dropped for Sam Johnston. So players that have played 90 minutes plus, Isak is the second worst in the Premier League. But it's obviously with Wirtz, it's adapting to a new league. He's being young. Isak fitness issues. It's also just confidence. I was wondering do you think it's a bit more than that as well? Do you think it's a tactical issue? Do you think it's a system issue?
I've sort of seen a few recent things because obviously, I don't know if you two know, but our assistant manager sort of switched out this summer. Johnny Heitinga joined Ajax and we got in Giovanni van Bronckhorst. So obviously training sessions have been a bit different. And a lot of fans are worried if the intensity's dropped because it sort of shows in the games. We're not really pressing from the front and then we're sort of getting countered, and that seems to be how we always concede, which is a real problem. In terms of Isak and Wirtz, I just don't think the system's working for them at all. I mean, what was it against Forest? Isak touched the ball 15 times. It's just not good enough. And I want to see something drastically change. I said that before PSV. That's what I was hoping, maybe a formation change. And Ekatike and Isak up top and drop Salah. Because I want to see something different that isn't just the youth team playing, as Charlie might remember from the Palace game.
Well, I feel like what you said there about kind of being I don't know, it's similar to what Ruben said about how Chelsea was so aggressive, right? If your team loses a game, the last thing you want to compile that is to be able to say that they were passive. Do you know what I mean? You lost the game, but it also just seemed like you didn't want it. I feel like losing a game, but you're aggressive and you're hitting into every challenge and the players work hard and you cover a lot of ground, but you get a bit unlucky. You can excuse that. And that's not the kind of thing that will get the fans backs up. That's kind of why I think Curtis Jones was almost what he said kind of made sense about maybe just sometimes you just need to early on in the game, just smash into someone. You do set the intensity. This is Anfield. This is our ground. No one likes coming here. For years, it's been a place people come and they don't get anything. And lately, it's been far too easy. I think you just got hit someone a bit. It's what we do. That is what we do. That's I think our best attribute is we're so aggressive. Being aggressive makes all the difference. I do feel like Liverpool have been too passive. I tell you what, I'll give you a number. Next 5 games, 3 losses and he'll go. And actually, is it Sunderland next?
Yeah, Sunderland at Anfield, I think it is.
If you lose to Sunderland at Anfield, he'll go, I think.
They came out today and they said the board's still confident with him. So we'll have to see what comes from that. But I don't know. He's lost the fans.
Also, another question. This I'll put this first to Ruben. Noah, you can answer afterwards. Does this run of form and maybe the starts this season, does this maybe reinforce some of the things people said last season about how the standard of the league was a little bit lower and maybe that's why Liverpool won it? Because people have said that.
I don't think so. I think when people say that, I think what they're really saying is that Man City did shit. So the person you think is going to win the title and really challenge for it wasn't there. I don't think the standard was lower. I think Chelsea got better. They were improving. Crystal Palace got a lot better. They were improving. They were winning games. Bournemouth got a lot better. They were winning games. All of Bournemouth's defenders, not quite all of them, but the young centre-back, Hudson, he went to Real Madrid. The other centre-back, Zabari, went to PSG. And that's in Bournemouth, a mid-table side. And you're trying to tell me the quality of the league has dropped. I just don't buy that. I think Liverpool were incredible last season. Mo Salah was incredible. I think that's because new manager came in, but he didn't change too much. He said, all how to play in this system, so we're going to play this system. And I watched a good video on it today, actually. It appears what Arne Slot's tried to do is move away from this high-intensity gegenpress and instead kind of trying to replicate the PSG system and the PSG formula. You can see that with Milos Kerkez and Frimpong trying to create that Nuno Mendes and Hakimi partnership, but it just hasn't worked. He's tried to force this idea and this system into his team, and it hasn't really worked. And also, going from your creative outlet being your right back, the entire team is focused around your right back, to now it being Vlert, your centre mid, who also just hasn't performed that well. It's difficult. But my last question I really want to ask Noah is interesting, is because he brought up Ekitike. You want to see two strikers, Ekitike and Isak. I highly rate Ekitike. Even as a Chelsea fan, to be honest, I love him. I think he's great. I love his Instagram posts. Noah sends me them all the time. I think he's great. So my question is, would you blame Arne Slot for that? For now having two world-class strikers that he's trying to shoehorn into his team, and all these other players like Wirtz as well, and Kerkez, trying to shoehorn out the team? Or would you blame the sporting directors? Would you blame them for buying players that might not fit exactly into the system that needs to be played?
Yeah, I sort of get what you mean about, there are only two strikers. Trying to get everyone into the team with all these attackers probably isn't going to work in sort of the grand scheme of things. But I think just he's so stubborn with playing Salah, and he doesn't want to drop him at all. I think purely because of last season's ability, and he has dropped off. I think that's very evident. I think that is why Liverpool have looked a lot worse. We never really looked like we were the most dominant team last season. It was more just Salah's pure output. I mean, he was was it 80-something% of all our goals came from him in his goals and assists. And all time this season, we don't know why he didn't win the Ballon d'Or, but that's another point. But yeah, that and Trent just going. I think the whole system's just completely switched up now. So it's not working. He's too stubborn to change it.
I think the Trent one is huge because he's just such a unique profile of a player in his position that you just can't replace him. Like, he is an irreplaceable footballer in that sense that, like, you're not going to find another right back with his kind of, passing ability, vision. He's just so sharp, always sees a pass before anyone else, because they all play in midfield. So there's probably not one in the world that's better at passing, I think, maybe. So, yeah. And also, I think what Ruben said about moving away from the press, I just don't understand that. The press is it just lines perfectly with Anfield and Liverpool and what Liverpool are. Like, you come to Anfield and like they're on you and you don't have a second, you can't breathe, and it's horrible. And that's what it should be. That's what Liverpool have been. And that's why I think that press worked so well under Klopp, and why the fans bought into him so quickly, is because it was just so lined so well with Liverpool, I think. But yeah, I think it's not a great time to be a Liverpool fan, but I think you've had your fun lately. You'll be all right. Across the rest of the games on Wednesday evening, one of them included Atalanta beating Frankfurt 3-0, in which they pushed heavily for a goal and couldn't find the breakthrough until 60 minutes, and then proceeded to get two more in the next 5, which is really strange. Couldn't score for 60 and then scored on the 60th, 62nd and 65th. Football's a funny game. Copenhagen beat Kairat Almaty in what should have been a routine win, as the Danish side were 3-0 up with 10 minutes left before Chelsea-bound wonderkid Datsan Satpayev sharply pressed the Copenhagen keeper. He actually looked I watched the highlights. He had a couple great strikes as well that went just wide. He looks good, and he's 17. Bloody Chelsea, they're always doing it. Pressed the Copenhagen keeper and tapped home, and then Babek finished a well-worked move to make Copenhagen sweat, but the game finished 3-2, and the Danish side picked up their first Champions League win of the season. Another Chelsea-bound wonderkid shone, as Sporting's Giovanni Quenda bagged a goal and an assist in a routine 3-0 win against a disappointing Bruges. By the way, Chelsea just reminds me, Monopoly, when you start, you get towards the end and people start getting all their, there's one person that's got all the houses and all of the properties. That's Chelsea right now with wonder kids in Europe. It's just taking the piss a bit. But he was top notch. Also, just wanted to note on that game, I think that it's gone under the radar how well Sporting have replaced Gyökeres. Luis Suarez, playing like his namesake, really. He has been unbelievable for them this season. Another really nice goal in that game. Paphos, the Cypriot side, continued to surprise the masses with a 2-2 draw against Monaco and Cyprus, and they've moved into the qualification spots. of the qualification round, which is crazy. But they got 6 points in 5 games. They're actually doing all right. And veteran WWE scored a beautiful header, marking the 38-year-old's first UCL goal for more than 8 years. Ruben, I've got a question for you. Just a little bit of trivia. Do you remember who WWE's last goal was in the Champions League against? It was in 2017 for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Was it against Antonio Conte's Roma?
It was, yeah, in a 3-3 draw. That is some impressive ball knowledge. I just thought I'd give you the chance to shine there. Fair play. Atletico ended Inter's perfect start with a 2-1 home win as Jimenez bagged a 91st minute winner for the Spanish side, which resulted in Diego Simeone reacting exactly as you would expect him to, running the length of the touchline, stopping himself, running back, and then running the length of the touchline again. Just classic Diego Simeone. I absolutely love that bloke. Speaking of perfect records, it brings us on to our third, main match to speak about of the game week. Two sides who had won every game this season so far in the Champions League faced up against each other at the Emirates as Arsenal welcomed Bayern to town in a game that marked the reunion of two men very close to my heart, Ebre Eze and Michael Olise. Little tear in my eye seeing them both playing the Champions League against each other. Arsenal went ahead just after 20 minutes thanks to a surprise, well-worked set piece. As Timber headed in strongly, just 10 minutes later, a Serge Gnabry squared ball was met by the incredibly talented 17-year-old Lennart Kyle, who dispatched convincingly to notch his 6th competitive goal contribution in just 16 competitive games, which sounds like, yeah, it's good, but then you remember he's 17 years old. Before this season, he'd never played a game of professional football. It's just I think he's an absolute joke of a player. The game remained a stalemate until close to the 70th minute when Mikel Arteta looked to his bench and brought on Martinelli and Calafiori for Lewis Skelly and Bukayo Saka. And just a minute later, Calafiori's cross was met by the first half substitute, Noni Madueke, as the winger scored his first career Champions League goal. Arteta's other substitution, Martinelli, then notched Arsenal's third after another strange goalkeeping decision from Neuer, a bit like Pope. I'm really not sure what he was doing there. It was a beautiful chipped ball, though, from Eze. Martinelli got there first and then had an empty goal to slot into. The game ended 3-1, meaning the Gunners are the only side left in the competition with a perfect record, and they just seem to be going from strength to strength. I'm really getting worried that they're going to win something because they are the most insufferable fan base in the world. Ruben, you were watching the game. What made the difference in the end for Arsenal, and just how good are they? And could they win the Champions League this season?
First of all, no, not worried about Arsenal at all. They win the games. If you remember, not quite last season, but the season before that, I still have that picture on my head of that Arsenal fan saying Merry Christmas, and he's wearing that white shirt, the league table on it, of Arsenal, with 5 or 8 points ahead. What happened in the end? They lost the title to the City. Arsenal are a team that love playing the league. They love playing these games. They love accumulating these points. But when it comes to knockout, I don't think they can knack it. They don't have enough winners, enough serial winners. You look at the players that have won trophies. Declan Rice has 1 trophy. Where did he win at West Ham? Zubimendi has 1 trophy. He won it at the Euros. These players don't have serial winners at Arsenal. And then you also look at Saka. Me and Charlie were talking about this when we were talking about potential England teams. Cole Palmer, he performs in big games. And you see Saka, I still remember that open goal miss against PSG. Played across the box, the ball was right there, he skied it over the bar. So even though Arsenal are performing so well, and they do have me slightly nervous for the weekend, when it comes to the latter stages of the season, I'm not too worried. However, if we're talking about this game, they were so much better than Bayern Munich. Even though they conceded, that goal was just simply direct and incredible. Carl being the scorer. Charlie, you mentioned Olise brought a tear down your eye. This Carl performance brought a tear down my leg. He was incredible. Every time he got the ball, something happened.
Oh, be careful though. He is 17, so you don't want to get done for that. You don't want to get done.
Oh, I will keep it in. Anyways, he plays with so much confidence. You talk about these young players and what do they play with? Freedom. That's not really a new idea that a player comes in uncoached and he takes players on, he takes risks. But Carl does more than that. He just plays with so much confidence. That shot where he got the ball, walked past the defenders, it wasn't a great shot, but you see Harry Kane in the box. I think the majority of players see Harry Kane and they're too scared to shoot, so they lay it off to him. But this fella, he just has so much confidence, he goes for the shots. But Arsenal's high press was really effective against Bayern. I think Lema had a horror game. He just couldn't handle it. They kept giving away possession. So many corners won by Arsenal, which if there's any team you don't want to have lots of corners, it's Arsenal. And also Olise, he played well when he got the ball. But in the second half, Company went to a back 5 with Olise playing at right wing back. So it was hard for him to do too much, hard for him to really show his quality. But when he did have his ball, you could still see that he was playing really, really well.
No, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think I also want to mention what you said about the press as well. I've been one in the past, I'll say it, I'll admit it, to say that Arsenal may be one-dimensional. You know, they rely a little bit too much on set pieces. Maybe that's why they've kind of fallen short of the mark in recent seasons. They're not good enough from open play. But I think Arteta has evolved very well as a coach over the years, and I think they can adapt from game to game. There's games where they will play for set pieces and they make it work, and then there's games where they like last night, like you said, where they press and they can. I was looking at their squad earlier, and I think it might be the only squad in the Premier League where they don't have a single bum. And bum as in like you look at a player and go, oh, he's a bit of a bum. Do you know what I mean? Like every position, they probably have the second best backup goalkeeper in the Premier League after Liverpool with Mohamed Ashwili, and because they've got Kepa. All of their defenders are high quality Premier League defenders, top-notch defenders. And then all of their midfielders, bar maybe Norgard, squad player, and then their forwards are all great as well. This Arsenal team, actually, I'm going to disagree with you, Ruben. I think this is the year where they win at least one of either. I don't think they'll win the Champions League. I don't think they have enough in knockout football. I kind of get what you mean there. But I do think they'll win the Premier League because I think they'll beat you on Saturday, and that'll be like the defining game of the season. Because if you win, it's only 3 points, but I think they'll beat you. That's just me. Noah, Arsenal, obviously last year, they were kind of trying to chase your Liverpool side. Didn't really get very close. First of all, on the topic of the league, is it over for Liverpool? Probably, but what do you think? And Arsenal, is this the year that they're all going to never shut up about again?
I think it's got to be now or never for Arteta. I mean, was it 8 years in the job and he's not won other than an FA Cup, and they'll claim a Community Shield, but I don't think that's a proper trophy.
Two massive trophies, by the way. Two of the most important trophies a team can win.
Oh, yeah. No, they need to win something. I don't see any team in the Champions League as close to as perfect as they seem to be, or the Premier League for that matter. I think if there's ever been a time that Arsenal could win the Champions League, it's now. We're looking at the teams that are probably going to be battling them for it: Bayern, Barca, City, all losing this week as well. I hate to see Arsenal succeed. They're probably my least favourite team, mainly because their fan base, but also because they just don't play attractive football. It's got to be now. I do think they will win at least the Premier League and probably the FA Cup as well. Champions League could be Madrid.
I'll have to disagree with you on the FA Cup because I think there's a certain team who've got to defend their title. Just whilst you're on the topic, I'll just slide in, 12 games in domestic cup competitions, only 1 loss. That's my gaffer. Anyway, we'll move on. Noah, you've obviously said that Arsenal are contenders for the FA Cup at the Premier League. So you don't think they have enough for the Champions League?
I just think that's where other teams sort of have the threat going forward. I mean, Madrid, they don't look confident. What was it, 4-3 to yesterday in that game? Obviously, Mbappe's world class. He's probably the best player on the planet right now. But they're beating teams. I would have said Bayern were my favourite. Harry Kane and Olise as a combination has been unbelievable this season, and they've just dispatched them like that. I think that's their statement win, and also the Tottenham game. It was 3-4 open play goals they got. They're moving on. They're like adapting their play. They're silencing the haters, I think.
I think they definitely silenced me because I was a big hater, and I got a lot of shit on Twitter after we played them. We drew them in the Carabao Cup, and I put out a tweet saying I'm already falling asleep. And I had 45 replies, like 2 likes from Arsenal fans who were going like, oh, maybe you should try and not play a low block. And it's just like, it's made me hate them even more. I just can't stand them. On the topic of Real, we'll move on to the last few games of Wednesday night. Real Madrid went away to Greek giants Olympiacos after a week of speculation regarding the future of manager Xabi Alonso and claims from players that he had lost the dressing room. The week looked to be getting worse for Los Blancos as Chiquinho put Olympiacos ahead after just 8 minutes with what I think is up there with the goal of game week 5. An absolutely beautiful move. And the finish was gorgeous as well. I love goals like that. It was just like bang, 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 finish, class. However, some things are inevitable, and Kylian Mbappe is definitely one of those. The Frenchman bagged 3 goals in 7 minutes, securing his hat-trick with a cool finish after beating the offside trap, which he just seems to do every single game I watch him. Like one of the most consistent players of beating the offside trap. I think because he's so quick, people underrate the fact that his movement is actually elite as well. Olympiacos showed a fighting spirit, however, and pulled one back just after half-time with a great header. There's been a lot of great headers in the Champions League this week. David Luiz's, this Taremi header was gorgeous. Before they were sunk once again, as Mbappe scored his 4th of the game and 9th of the Champions League campaign in 5 games. Just choking the footballer. On the hour mark, that Mbappe goal was, once again, Olympiacos showed fight as another brilliant header from El Kaabi with 10 minutes left, but the record winners saw out the game to gain all 3 points. The final game of Wednesday saw a Spurs side that had been hopeless on the weekend against Arsenal and against Chelsea 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before because the international break, go away to champions PSG, who were missing dynamic duo Doué and Dembele from the start. Despite early chances from the Parisians, it was Spurs who took a shock lead through Richarlison, following a great nod across from former PSG man Kolo Muani. The goal saw Richarlison already better his goals and assists from the entirety of last season. I don't know if that says more about how bad he was last season or how good he's been this season. Probably a bit of both. On the stroke of half-time, however, Vitinha took things into his own hands as the Portuguese scored what may well be the best goal of the season so far, striking him first time with an incredible amount of power. However, Spurs went back ahead again just 5 minutes after half-time as French striker Kolo Muani added to his first half assist and notched a goal after a scrap around in the box, fell to him, hit the defender and went in. Once again, however, Vitinha didn't seem to take kindly to this and decided to shift it onto his weaker left side and wrap in a goal that may well have been better than his first, somehow. PSG stopped messing about and goals from Fabian Ruiz and William Pacho gave them a 2-goal lead with 25 minutes remaining. Once again, however, Spurs bit back with a good interception from Bentancur, followed by a sharp finish from Kolo Muani, who got his second. It's bound to go down as one of those performances that no one will ever remember because his team lost, but was actually pretty good. However, once again, Vitinha seemed to take offence to Spurs having the audacity to try and score a goal against PSG, and just 3 minutes later, again, he slotted away a penalty to restore PSG's 2-goal lead and secure his hat-trick as the match ended at an incredible 5-3. It really did feel as though Vitinha decided to just switch it on, with each of his goals coming 10 minutes after. But are there positives to take from this result? We know that they've been struggling with chance creation, but why do you think that is, and what should they change?
I don't think there are too many positives. It seemed like a new idea from Thomas Frank. He seemed to do a 4-4-2 low block, which isn't a terrible idea, but I've just written down here, you defend and go incredibly defensive against PSG. To what extent can you actually defend against PSG? Look at Vitinha's first goal. They're just allowing a shot, and when the PSG players are that good, it's bound to go in eventually. It was a really open game, 1.5 expected goal to PSG, Tottenham 1.79, but their chance creation just generally, although it was good this game, I think overall, it's down to their central midfielders. You look at who they have in the central midfield, it's Bentancur and João Palhinha. 14 key passes between them in total this season. It's just insane. You look at their most creative player, Mohamed Kudus, who they bought this season. He's playing on the right wing. He's not getting the ball enough. He can't create when he's not really getting the ball, as they can't build up the pitch to get it to him. Also, one of the other most creative players, Xavi Simons. Chelsea were trying to sign him. People were actually crying on Twitter, blacking out their profiles when Xavi didn't sign for Chelsea because we didn't sign him for was it 60 or 70 million to sign? We don't want to pay that much for him. And people were pissed. He's been benched with Tottenham's last 2 games. He hasn't performed to the standards. So you see the 2 most creative players. One of them's kind of flopped. One of them's played out wide. It's just not good enough to, try and create when you have these players that they don't have it in their ability to create. And the last thing I'll say is just Kolo Muani, 2 goals and assists against his parent club. It's just fucking funny. It's just hilarious that I forgot he was at Tottenham. I know he's been injured. He hasn't played enough, but it's fucking hilarious. I completely forgot he was there. Pops up and just scores 2 and gets an assist against his parent club. It's just hilarious.
It's one of those things that just seems to happen. You know those intangibles in football that just seem to happen. You can never explain why. Yeah, it was so obvious that he would have a good game, wasn't it? Noah, Spurs, like I said, lack of creativity, such little XG. I think it was 0.17 across 2 games against Chelsea and Arsenal. Obviously, last night created their chances, a little bit better. What is a realistic goal for Spurs this year in the Champions League? Where can they aim to get to within reason?
I'm thinking surely they've gone in with the lowest expectations possible, having finished 17th last season. I think their season's gone a bit mixed. They've had some good performances, they've had some bad performances. They are crying out for a better striker than Richarlison and Kyle Muani. That is very necessary. But they went into PSG damage control. It was 5 back, 3 in midfield. They really, I don't think they expected much from that game, so I won't base their performance in the Champions League on that. But I don't know. I don't think they're expecting too much from this tournament. Mainly focused on the Prem.
I mean, they kind of have to, don't they? They kind of have to. I think they don't have much of a choice. So that kind of wraps up the Champions League game week. But before we finish, I wanted to ask you each to give me your favourites for the competition right now on the spot. One word, no explanation, just give me your favourites. Ruben, go first.
It's difficult, but I'm going to have to go with Bayern Munich again. Although he ghosted against Arsenal, he's insane. 24 goals in 19 matches. That's Ballon d'Or numbers. It's ridiculous. I mean, PSG, they still possess quality. Chelsea, I'm going to throw them in the hat as underdogs. Just because they play so well.
No, you have to. You have to. I respect it.
Big teams, they play so well. 3-0 against PSG, 3-0 against Barcelona. I mean,
what happened against Bayern, though?
Bayern was away, and, you know,
I'm joking.
That was a game where I think does show maybe why I'm throwing them as underdogs. Because a lot of these players, that Bayern game was their first ever Champions League performance. And especially like someone like Gusto, who's never playing the competition, making that serious mistake to make it 3-1. I mean, do they have the quality to do it? Yes. Do they have the leadership and the mindset to do it? I don't know. But that's why I think Bayern Munich have the ability to do it, since they've got players who have been there for a lot longer, like Harry Kane, but also have won a lot of trophies, like Joshua Kimmich.
I think that's a completely valid reason there for that. And Noah, for you, if you just said it was Liverpool, then I might have to end the recording now.
I'd love it for them, but I'm going to have to stick with Arsenal. They're going to be favourites for everything this season.
I hate to say it, Ruben, I saw your reaction there, and that's exactly how I react to the thought of it, but I think they are. I just think they are. You just look relentless. And look at, especially, I think the main difference for me is it seems like inevitable, Arsenal now. Like, it just seems inevitable that they're gonna sort of, we've lost, no, but we'll carry on. Hopefully we'll join back. But yeah, it just seems inevitable that they're gonna make it work. Ruben, goal of the week? Have you got a goal? Comes to mind? I've got a feeling what you might go for.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go for Estevo's goal. I was there in person, and it's the first goal in a while that's made me jump out of my seat. Not in the sense that, just spring out of my seat, but you just didn't see it coming. I had great seats about it. No one knows what I would be talking about if he was here. But I've got great seats where I was literally on the right-hand side, right next to goal, right above him. And it just came out of nowhere. He got the ball, dribbled past his player, and then someone just instantly went in. Short my seat, I couldn't believe what I was saying, but I'm going to have to give it to him, even though that Vitinha goal was a beauty.
Yeah, that was, honestly, that Estevao goal, I don't know what else to say. He is a great young player, isn't he? I think there was a lot of talk before about him and Yamal and maybe who's the better young player. And I mean, obviously, right now, I think it would be ridiculous not to say Yamal, but Estevao could get there. You know what I mean? Like, he's shown some great glimpses, and he's kind of becoming that guy for Chelsea, which is extremely impressive considering how young he is. So that's kind of where we're at then. My goal of the week, just before we move on, because we've got no Noah. Noah, I think, said Vitinha's first. Would have said Vitinha's first. I'm the one that went crossbar and in. For me, just to be different, that Olympiacos first goal was unbelievable. Such good football. I just love goals like that. We're going to move on to Thursday's European action. I am going to quickly message Noah and check if he's still alive. He's typing.
I can talk about, one game in particular if you want.
Go on. Talk to me.
You're obviously going to be excited as well. I'm equally excited against Strasbourg, against Crystal Palace. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to watch Mike Penders, Kendry Pyers, Emmanuel Mega, the players that I adore, all Chelsea prone, in the near future. Kendry Pyers, hopefully next season, I think he can be an insane backup for Cole Palmer. We have Buonanotte now, and I think the reason he's on loan is because we know that Kendry Pyers is going to be here next season. Just need to give us some game time. Emega, not sure about the signing. We have João Pedro and Delap, but maybe the idea is that João Pedro plays more centrally, and then we have Delap and then Emega as our main strikers. And Mike Penders, I would have said Mike Penders, goalkeeper for Chelsea next season. Rob Sanchez, he's been incredible so far. You've got to give him his flowers, and I think It's difficult because I want to see Mike Penders play for Chelsea so badly. I think he's the next Courtois. But I think Rob Sanchez being forced out of the club after what he's done so recently would be bad. Even though they're all going to come at different times, even though I'm unsure of what exactly they're going to do, I'm excited to watch all of them for the first time since their games normally aren't televised.
Yeah.
Since, Crystal Palace, they just hog all the coverage. Every time I try and watch it, it's the Crystal Palace game. It's
because you're a big club, mate. It's because you're a big club. They've got to show the big clubs on TV.
Yeah.
Right, guys. So we're gonna quickly come to you now because you disappeared. Goal of the round.
Got to be Vitinha's first against Tottenham. To take
I
it
said,
first time. Crossbar in, that's perfect.
Outrageous goal, wasn't it? Ruben said Esteval's, obviously, kind of has to, I said Olympiacos is first, just to be a bit different. Lovely goal. But I think we can all kind of agree it probably was Vitinha's, wasn't it? Moving on to the European games, we just had a brief chat, me and Ruben, about how excited he is for the Palace versus Strasbourg game. And we're going to start, though, our predictions at Villa. Welcome everybody's favourite Swiss side, Young Boys, to Villa Park. What do we think, boys? Just to throw a little prediction in. I'll start with you, Noah.
I mean, Villa have been in good form of recent, have they not? I mean, apart from our game, somehow. Morgan Rogers on fire right now. It's got to be a Villa win.
I like it. And Ruben?
I couldn't agree more with Noah. 3 out of 4 games in the European they've won. So I just can't see them losing.
Yeah, especially not to Young Boys. I think they'll just be too naive. They lack a bit of experience. Forest have Malmo at home. Surely they can't lose another game at home to a Scandinavian side. Fingers crossed. For you boys, you might not know, we are supreme haters of Nottingham Forest here on the More of a Six podcast. Absolutely robbed our position in the Europa League, and they're clearly not good enough for the competition. What do we think? I'll start again. I'll come to you first, Noah. Forest at home to Malmo.
Neither are very good sides. I'll have to back Forest because I think Sean Dyche's going to somehow get the win. Yeah. Not a big Forest fan either.
That's not one that you're going to be going out of your way to tune into, we'll be honest. Ruben, Forest or Malmo?
Well, I wonder why Noah has a bit of resentment, because the point I'm going to bring up is Forest going to be oozing with confidence after their 3-0 victory over Liverpool. And also in the last European game, I can't remember if it was their last one or the one before that, their victory over Porto, which it's a tough team to beat in their last European game. I think they'll be oozing with confidence. I think they'll go into this game thinking they can win, knowing they can win. I can see a Forest victory.
Yeah, I think that was their second to last European game. The last one was a 0-0 draw away at Sturm Graz. They are absolutely rubbish, aren't they, Forest? I hope they get relegated and go out of the league phase. Anyway, I'm not holding any grudges. I don't do that. We'll move on to the most important big fixture, Crystal Palace away to Strasbourg. Probably our toughest test yet in the Conference League. Obviously, Kalen Arca are a great side. I don't want to discredit them, but Strasbourg are obviously quite a decent side. They've had a good year. Last European game, we obviously won 3-1 against Alkmaar at home. I was there. We looked really good. Alkmaar aren't a bad European side, fairly consistently in the competitions. They always put up decent performances, get into pretty lat stages, and we kind of swept them away quite easily. I'll go to you boys first, and then I'll tell you what I think. I'll go to you first, Noah. Prediction? I think you're going to be watching the game with me at Matt P's house? Yeah? Oh, God. Jeopardy. Go ahead now. What do you think?
I think it's got to be a Palace win. They don't even look like they're going to slow down at all. I mean, they're a fantastic side this season. I'll be looking for a high-scoring game, but yeah, it's got to be a Palace win.
Come on. And Ruben, do you reckon your boys are going to win?
I've got to back them. I'm really excited to see Kendry Pius play. I've already mentioned that on the podcast like 5 minutes ago. I'm just so excited to be able to watch him to play on European stage. And Strasbourg are they're not bad. They're 5th in the Liga. They're not a bad team. They're not just someone that Chelsea bought. They've got a very strong squad. But I think it's going to be a game where it's going to be really focused on attack. Obviously, Crystal Palace, so direct. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but I'm going to have to say Strasbourg just edge it out. But I don't think it's going to be easy.
I respect you got back your boys. I personally think that the game tonight suits us more than any other European game has. The games we struggle in is when we play against low blocks. We have a lot of possession. There's not as many transitions. Most of the game is us in their half with the ball. That's where we struggle. I think we kind of lack, maybe the system lacks the creativity to break down teams in those scenarios, but games where a team is going to come out at us because they're at home and they're a decent side and they've got good players, that is music to my ears as a Palace fan. Because when a team comes at us, we absolutely destroy them on the transition. It is our biggest strength. I don't want to sound too confident because if we lose, I'll look like an absolute knob. But I do think we'll win this, and I think it will be fairly comfortable. I think we'll win by at least 2 goals, I think. And I'm not usually this confident about Palace, by the way. For context, for you boys, you might not have heard me speak about that. I'm usually like, I'm quite confident, but I never predict games because I just know it ends badly. But I've got a feeling that we'll win tonight because I think it just suits us. Pino's hitting form at the right time. We've been great lately. But yeah, I think that is everything then, boys. That concludes today's episode. Thank you to everyone for tuning in and listening to another episode of the More of a Six pod. Thank you to Noah and Ruben for helping me out. I'm sure we'll have you back soon, boys, when we need some expert analysis from Chelsea and Liverpool fans. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.